Welcome back to Daily Persuasion. I'm Joshua Lisec. I am the New York Times bestselling author and co-author, a ghostwriter of more than 100 nonfiction books, and a certified hypnotist. Through this unique set of experiences, I'm able to curate for you lessons from the news, media, entertainment, and my other shenanigans so that I can better teach you how to influence the VIPs of your life and your career. Something that I have been doing recently is I've been picking up the Polaroid. Why have I been picking up the Polaroid? Well, for one reason, it goes from my life primarily virtual. I have a strange sort of not an email job, but I have a Word document job for the most part, and also like a Zoom job. And that is in a Google Docs job, right? Um, and a digital file manipulation job. That's what really being a ghostwriter is about. It's like a project manager and you're a creative director and you have all these things. Okay. I've been getting into Polaroid because we have a real, tangible, physical technology that creates these little beautiful images. And it's not perfect every single time. Some of the shots look really weird where the lighting is way too much. And I'm taking a picture of a river and there's so much exposure from all those sunlight being reflected off the ripples, you can barely see a thing. And also my kids love it. And it's still part of this real physical world. I recently went to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park again. I hadn't been there in 15 years. 15 years ago, I was writing my first novel, this one right here, The Phoenix Reich by Joshua Lisec. I was writing this novel 15 years ago at the top of Mount LeConte in a cabin. And in that particular cabin, I was writing by candlelight, or what is it, oil lamp light, right? And that was a physical, kinesthetic experience. When you're interfacing with screens all the time, you miss out on that. I recently went to California actually not just once. I went to California a number of times this past year on assignment. And sitting across from the subject, the person, the individual, hearing their story, experiencing their emotions, their presence in 3D, recording the conversation, of course, but in 3D, contrast that with little one-dimensional screen. That's why I'm getting into Polaroid. That's why I'm playing the guitar again, as opposed to just listening to music or playing with Sora or Sona or Suna or whatever that AI music maker software is. I encourage you to get into more kinesthetic state change experiences to do a little persuasion. Now, what do I mean by state change? It's where you are going from one mental and emotional state, thinking about and feeling one thing, to thinking about and feeling another. That's what, of course, happens with live music. But when you're playing the live music versus just listening to it, you're physically involved. You're causing your physiological state to change. You're making this music. You're singing. You are seeing something in person. You're taking a photo, and minutes later, you see with a physical object the thing that you have been working with. 15 years ago, you know what I had? I had a cassette player Walkman from 1988 that I listened to some of my favorite tunes on. Back with little headphones, right? Pull up any music, any movie from or show from the 80s or late 80s, early 90s, and you'll see what those people had. Cassette player Walkmans. I did have one of the CD-ROM CD players, sort of Walkman CD player, but it would always skip. It was just terrible because you put it on your belt or something like that. And if you were running or walking at a brisk pace, it would skip, and so you wouldn't hardly hear the thing. That's how it goes sometimes. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to find ways to experience your physical, three-dimensional, non-virtual world. Begin, if you can, replacing those things. Some people are talking about going to, let's say, dating roundtables or in-person dating type experiences in lieu of or alongside of using dating apps. Okay, what about instead of experiencing a movie, what if you went to see a literal show? Like a show, like at a theater, right? Instead of watching a new comedy special, why don't you go see a comedy special like at a dinner theater? Interaction with the audience, right? Instead of learning a skill on whatever app you're using or YouTube tutorial, what if you go and actually experience a class? Something else I started doing recently, besides listening to some music and watching dance tutorials, is going to actual dance clubs and learning how to more effectively dance these various vintage dance styles from the Renaissance period on up to, well, salsa of the 80s. Okay? It's all about getting your physical body involved. And I believe that as more and more parts of our lives are digitized and as software eats the world, it will be more important for us to have Martian havens, off-world havens, you might say, in various parts of our life, dedicating and devoted to physical pursuits where it's not digital. Yes, I do take digital camera pictures of my Polaroids, okay, for sake of keeping. But I'm getting a real album. I'm getting a real physical album. And of course, I have pictures of all my children, Polaroids of all my children. And there's something so special about looking at that versus looking at, a digital picture of them. Like, it's real physical technology that's physically taking a physical photo of physical people. And there is a beauty in that. There is a special, I'm not sure what word I was thinking. I was hearing Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 3 in my head all of a sudden saying Sith Lords are our speciality. But it's actually not speciality, the word is specialty. And I've always wondered, why does he mispronounce that? I took my son for the 20th anniversary of that film to see it. And that word stuck in my head is, wait a second, that's not how it's pronounced. Maybe in British English. In any case, it's a speciality. It's a special experience. I'll say that. Where you are using technology, but it's not an app, it's not digital, there's no cookies, you're not getting tracked. Okay. And it's input and output, and it's just physical. It's just physical. Something else that I've been doing, is I've been spending a little bit of money on postcards, writing at postcards to people who have done things for me, who've provided support during this challenging period of my life. Written them postcards. It's the romanticizing of everyday life. Right now, I'm putting together a little package for someone who's going through a season of grief. I'm writing some things up, sending this particular individual some fossils that I've collected, autographing a book, and then saying, here's a specific section that's going to serve you well. And then having a beautiful Lisec ghostwriting, gold embossed, handwritten note that I'm packaging. I don't suspect that this person's going to see this video, so I'm saying it here. I am romanticizing my everyday life, you might say, by taking it from all digital and fully optimized. And I'm wearing a physical watch, okay? I used to wear one of those little Fitbits, right, all the time. I use those during workouts now. But wearing a physical watch that physically tells the physical time, the real world, tangible experiences are persuasive unlike any other. And I think you need more of that in your life. Instead of playing Wii golf, play real golf. We go play golf.